My name is Hannah, and this is my year of less stuff. Hey y'all, so here's what happened. I filmed a very chatty get ready with me for this look, which is what you're about to watch, and then I filmed this introduction with the look on. And then I filmed a whole other video. And during that video, I had to do a bunch of repair work on my eyes because my eyes kept watering. So I have a feeling that my eyeshadow doesn't look as good right now as it will at the end of the Get Ready With Me when you see like the fresh look. I feel like it's a little bit weird and patchy on this eye, but it's fine, it's fine. So I had filmed this introduction, and then when I went to upload the footage to my computer so that I could work on it, I realized that just that little piece that I filmed at the whole end of the Get Ready With Me had bad sound. So I'm trying again. I'm filming the intro to the Get Ready With Me right now, but it's like hours later. So if I look weird or different or busted or worn out or upside down or inside out, that's why. I am glad you are watching this video. It is, again, a very chatty Get Ready With Me, and it's roughly this look. I hope that you enjoy it. Let's go ahead and get into the meat of the video. Hi, okay, let's start. This is exciting. I haven't filmed to Get Ready With Me in a long time. I'm not totally sure why. I think it's been a timing thing, like a timing and energy thing. It does take longer to get ready when I'm filming the process, even though you would think it would be natural to fit it in because I do get ready every time I film a video, and in theory I could just pop the camera on. But every time I've had to film lately, it's been like I've only had the amount of time to film the video that I'm filming, and I haven't had the additional extra time to film a Get Ready With Me and then film the video. But I do today, and it's nice to be sitting down with the camera on and planning to do something a little bit more relaxed, I have to say. I've got my matcha. I have been having like a little bit of a half cup of coffee in the mornings lately, and then often having a matcha a little bit later. And there's a new painting in the rotating art gallery of my videos. It's possibly my favorite painting that we own. It's called All Spock Soccer Team, and it was a gift to Joe from me years ago. I believe it is something that you can buy like a canvas print of. That is what I did. It's like printed on canvas, so it looks like a painting, but it's not actually the original painting. So if I can find All Spock Soccer Team, the artist does amazing work. It's not the only piece of his that I've admired, but it's the one that I felt like we just had to have. If I can find it, I'll definitely link it down below because, I mean, come on. It's an all Spock soccer team. I've got my skincare on already. Many of you know that I just rinse my face in the mornings, then I put on the Timeless Vitamin C Serum, then I sometimes put in a tiny bit of like another serum or oil on top of that, and then I go in with my Aaron's Faces sunscreen. That's what I've done today. That's all that's in my face, but I'm feeling a little bit busted this morning. I feel like my under eyes don't usually look this blotchy and sort of, I don't know, a little bit baggy. I think it's because I didn't sleep that well last night. But let's go ahead and start putting on a touch of makeup. I'm going to start with the VDL Lumi Layer Primer. I just love the way that that primer makes my skin look. I think I'm probably going to stay zoomed out today because I'm more about just like getting ready with you and not so much about demonstrating the technique. But I think I am going to try to do the kind of simple red and green, like coral and iridescent green all over the lid look that I was talking about so much in my two videos about building my own palette from scratch. I am going to be using one of the two palettes, the third one that I built, the one that I determinedly kept focused on that idea. So it has those bright reds, and it also has lime chrome from the Natasha Denona Gold palette, and that's what I'm going to use in my look today. But I'm just going to be back here doing it, telling you what I'm doing, and chatting with you. Let's do the eyes next. I'm going to prime my eyes. I'm on to this eye primer as my only one. I used up the last little bits of the other Smashbox one that I was using, and so now I just have one, which is my preferred state of being with everyday type items like this. And that's been happening with a lot of things because with the year of less stuff, I've really been wanting to create empties. I've like really wanted to use up stuff because to me that's the best way to add to my stuff out, is to like use up the thing and have it be done. And the way that I've been strategizing to do that is that when I have two of something, like I have this and then I had like a sort of like a half size, maybe it was a deluxe sample size, but there was quite a lot in it. I think it might have been just like a small size of the Smashbox Photo Finish 24-hour eye primer. Usually when I have two of something like that, I'll switch back and forth. So I'll use one for a little while and then I'll use the other. I'll use one day and one the next, you know, because I kind of like variety and just novelty. And I also am continually feeling out the formulas of things and kind of trying to see if I like one better than the other. So I do kind of switch around, switch among things just to keep myself entertained and also to like educate myself. But with wanting to reduce my stuff number, I have been like choosing one in a lot of categories and just focusing on that. So I started the year with like 3 or 4 face oils sitting on my vanity and then another like 5 in the backups box. I ended up donating some of them partway through the month, but I did have like maybe 3 on my vanity and maybe 4 now in my backups box. And instead of just using one night and one the next and one morning and one the next of the 3 or 4 that were on my vanity, early in the month I just picked one. And even if I would sometimes use one of the others, I used that one morning and night every day, and then I used it up. It was already kind of half used up. I picked the one that was the closest to being empty, and I just used it. I focused on it, and I've been doing that with everything in my bathroom, like with my cleansers and stuff, with things like eye primer, even some makeup products like lip glosses and things that I really feel like I have a chance at getting through. I've been kind of panning. That's kind of what I've been doing. It's kind of been like a default across the board project pan that's just focused on the things that I have the best chance at turning into empties as soon as possible. And it has worked out that way. I have way more empties now than I usually do this soon after my most recent empties video. And actually, if I have time today, I'm filming this Get Ready With Me, and then I'm going to film the video about the things I bought in January, which I still haven't filmed. And then if I do have time, I'll also film that empties video, and that'll be the next thing that goes up. But I'm not sure about the order. This video might go up after both of those. It just depends. Which brings me to the main topic of this video, which is my completely wonky schedule for the entire rest of February, and the fact that I am not entirely sure if I am going to be able to keep it up on YouTube this month. It's kind of crazy. Usually this would make me feel really bad to be having to say, like, I might not be able to even stick to my 2 uploads a week schedule. It's just going to depend. I'm going to try my darndest, but I might not be able to. So this is like the well in advance fair warning that might happen. And I'm now going to explain to you why that might happen while I put on my eye makeup. I'm going to start with laying down the reds, the matte reds. So I'll be using probably all 3 of these matte reds. One is this really bright shadow from Juvia's Place. This is from the Natasha Denona Lila palette. I believe it's like the deepest deepening shade in this palette. And then this one right here is Maple from Luxie Beauty. It's pretty deep too. It's just got a little bit of a different undertone. So I'm going to try to basically put on like an all matte eye using those 3 shades, sculpting, blowing it out almost all the way up to my brows as if it were an all matte eye. And I'll also be putting it underneath my eyes, underneath my lower lash line, and just buffing it out, blowing it out. And then when that's done, I'll go in with lime chrome and I'll pat it literally all over my entire lid. But because it's sheer, the shadowing from the matte shadows underneath will keep their dimension. It'll like keep the dimension that I built into my eye. It'll just make it a little more subtle and kind of sheeny. That's what I've been doing a lot lately. So now you guys know what I'm going to be doing, so you'll be able to follow along as I'm talking about other things. So I'm starting with that super bright kind of fluorescent tomato shadow from Juvia's Place, and I'm going in with the Rephr 02 brush, and I'm going to pat it like pretty much all over because it's the lightest of the 3 reds, so it's going to be the one that occupies the most space on my lids. So as I speak, as I do this, Joe and I are in the middle of preparing to vend at a big tango festival that's out of state for us. Like, we have to fly to it, and we're going to be gone for a week. It's like taken a long time for it to, well, it's not like it's taken a long time for it to hit home for me. I always knew that this was happening, but it snuck up on me a little bit in terms of like what that means for my YouTube channel. It just snuck up in terms of like thinking about pre-filming, because filming has just been really hard over the past couple of weeks for reasons that I'll get into maybe later in the video, emotional reasons, the way in which my channel and my project have interacted, because the project I'm doing, the Year of Less stuff and the budget, I'm not doing it for YouTube. I'm doing it for myself. I'm doing it because it's what I want to be doing. And the interaction, the sort of frisson between my project, my life basically, and my choices, and the public nature of this corner of my life, my YouTube channel, has put a lot of pressure on me for the past couple of weeks, and it's just made it harder to film, because when I go into that phase where I'm feeling like intensely scrutinized and judged, it just makes it harder. So it's been hard, and I've really been focusing over the past couple of weeks on getting myself back on my feet and getting myself into a place where I feel good about filming again and where I like love this again. And the one thing that has helped just the most, the absolute most, not even just the most, but like 90% of well, that's unfair to Joe, because Joe helps a lot. He's a really good cheerleader. But the thing that has helped the most is you guys. Like the messages I've gotten, the emails, the comments on my last video. At this time, as I'm filming this, the last one that went up was my check-in. You guys have helped me so much, and I cannot thank you enough. And I will try to circle back to that later in the video, but I'm determined to tell you about my impending crazy schedule before I get too distracted by other things. Basically, over the last couple of weeks, I should have been focusing on pre-filming for this week, because here's what's happening. We're going to the festival. We're going to be gone for a whole week, basically from this coming Wednesday to the following Tuesday. And then I'll be back for one normal day, a day on which I hope I'll go to a therapy appointment, and I'll probably also have to get my nails redone because they'll be really grown out by then. They grow super fast, and that'll be 2 weeks from the last time that I got my nails done, and that is pretty much proven to be like how often I have to go. So there'll be one day on which I like quickly and scrappily like take care of my emotional health and take care of my nails and probably do a lot of cleaning. And then the day after that, my mom, my little mommy, is coming to LA. She's never visited before since we moved here, because she lives really far away. She lives in North Carolina, and it's just a long way to go, and it's a pricey ticket. So it's just been hard. I've obviously seen her a lot since I moved here, but it's always been me visiting her. She's coming to visit. And then on Friday, my little sister is coming too. They're both coming. They're both coming to visit me. It's technically a birthday visit, although they'll be here the week before my birthday. They're not actually going to be here on my birthday, which is the 27th of February. They're going to be here the week before for almost a full week, the weekend before for almost a full week. And we're going to go to Disneyland. Like, it's something that I've been looking forward to passionately for so many months now. I'm like almost crying talking about it. I'm so excited. But I don't anticipate having that much time to film. I might try to film with them when they're here. Like, that would be so great. If you have any ideas for like what you'd like to see, my mom doesn't wear makeup, and it wouldn't even be like in anyone's interest for us to do any kind of makeup oriented video unless it was something silly like one of those like my mom guesses the price of my makeup videos, or I don't know, we could even talk about like her opinion about makeup or how she grew up thinking about it. We could maybe try to do something beauty oriented, but it's not really her jam. So if you have an idea of something else you'd like to see, I don't know how into it she would be. Or I might be taking her to Universal Studios, just the two of us. Maybe we could vlog that or vlog a little bit of it. Let me know what you would really like to see. And I might try to film a video with my sister too, just like a straight up my beautiful friend with her. But I don't know. I don't know if we'll have time. I don't know if it will feel like the right way to spend our time. I don't know if they'll really want to, or if they'll want to do that more than they would want to do other things while they're here. And I just don't see myself having time to sit down and film while they're here, because I'm going to want to take full advantage of the fact that they're visiting for the entire time. So I have prepped in terms of my other work. I've been sewing. I've been working on sewing tango clothes pretty much through the weekend for months now, in order to get enough pieces sewn in advance so that I don't have to sew the week that they're here, because I also can't produce any clothing the week that we're away, obviously. So I basically have these 2 weeks coming up where I can't sew and I can't film. What I'm saying is that I've properly prepared for my actual job, like my paying gig, or my well-paying gig. YouTube does pay like an amount that helps these days, especially having put in those middle ads. Like it has improved a lot from my first year and even from my second year. Obviously it's not like enough to live on, still not enough to pay my rent, but it's like, I know that I'm just telling you because some of you have inquired about that. because I've been more open. I was more open than a lot of YouTubers are, especially in the early days of my channel, about how financially unsustainable it truly is, and how for years it's a labor of love before it becomes a labor that contributes financially in any significant way. But I would say over the past 6 months, it's become something that it does contribute in a meaningful way to our finances, and I'm incredibly grateful for that. But it's still not the job that is my sustenance. Like, it's still not really paying our bills. It's just allowing me to save a little bit, and it's also allowing me to reinvest in the channel. Like, you guys, I bought a strip of wallpaper, and I know a lot of you love the concrete, and it's removable wallpaper. So I'm thinking I'll put it up for a little while and then maybe take it down, maybe switch it out. It's not like the concrete will be gone forever. I have always wanted to experiment with amazing removable wallpaper. I'm a big wallpaper fan. Like, just in general, certain kinds of prints that you see in wallpaper-esque prints, especially certain contemporary but Victorian inspired, like sort of painting realistic prints or photorealistic prints. I just have always wanted to have a reason to splash out on some wallpaper. And I try to keep track of like money that comes in that's not my AdSense, but that's like as a result of my platform. So this was I actually bought this wallpaper with some commission that I earned from some of you using my Refer brush code. Refer launched an affiliate program some weeks ago, and I just let you guys know on my channel, and now I have the code down below, but the code only provides a discount if you buy the full set. So I wasn't, especially knowing like the ethos of my channel, I wasn't really necessarily expecting anyone to use it, honestly. I don't really have a horse in that race. It's like I don't earn enough commission that it makes like a meaningful difference to me that one person out there uses the code. They gave me the code and I wanted to make it available, but a few people did use it. And I was able, and then when they paid me, I was like, I'm going to reinvest this in my channel. And so I bought that wallpaper. It's something that I've always wanted. And so that's exciting. It's nice. Why was I even talking about this? Oh yeah. Oh my gosh. That was such a tangent. I just traced it back in my mind to how I even got started talking about that. And it was like 5 bullet points ago. Those were 5 bullet points I wasn't planning to cover in this video. I'm not going to tell you what the wallpaper looks like, but get excited. It's going to be amazing. However much you love the concrete, just know I love the concrete too, and I feel like the wallpaper is going to be an improvement. So what I was saying is that I have been assiduously and in a very responsible manner padding my actual paid work, like my actual job that does pay our bills, which is making the Tango clothes. I've been covering my butt with that work to account for the fact that I'm going to be out of commission as like a worker for 2 weeks. But I haven't really had it together to cover my butt for YouTube. So now I'm filming this on a Friday. We're leaving on Wednesday, and I pretty much have to pre-film as much as I possibly can between now and when we leave in order to cover all of those 2 weeks. And I am just not entirely sure I'll be able to do it. And if I can do it, it is definitely going to depend on me kind of filling out the month with those standard videos. So like the empties video, the reckoning with new stuff video. There isn't that much stuff in the purgatory box, I don't think, but that one, like videos where there's sort of like an order of things that's already laid out. Videos that don't take like a ton of creative prep work, or where I don't have to spend, like sometimes especially when I take notes for videos, I spend as much time taking the notes and planning what I want to say and planning the order in which I want to say it as I do actually filming, and then I have to edit. So it really adds to the time that it takes to film videos like that. But I might be able to do like new makeup releases or an anti-haul, like those kinds of things. I just want to let you guys know that the rest of February, at worst, there might not be as many videos as I usually publish. I hope that doesn't happen, but at worst, that is what will happen. But at best, unfortunately, it's going to be a lot of standard fare. And I hope that you can understand why that's happening and bear with me. And then I will try to pump it up a little bit in March and maybe do some more exciting things or some things I haven't done. And unfortunately, I know I keep saying this, but it's definitely going to happen. I actually am already taking notes for and planning the video about what happened to the ethical consumerism series. Unfortunately, I was hoping to do that in January. That didn't happen, and I definitely can't do it in February now either. But I am going to like push and push and push myself to get that up in March. So things like that, things that take a little bit more planning, that are a little bit more complex, and that in some cases like dig a little deeper, like that video. I will make an effort to be a more robust content creator in March. Okay, so I used the darker burgundy, the one from Natasha Denona, in my outer corner and also up kind of on the outer part of the hood of my eye to make my eyes look bigger and less hooded. I kind of brought it up close to my brows. And I also used some on my lower lash line. And now I'm going to go in with this eyeliner. It's the Glossier Play Color Slide in the color Disaster Class. It's like a reddish burgundy. I'm going to put some in the outer corner of my eyes to kind of stick some shadow down there, and I'm also going to line my eyes with this. I like staying with sort of a red rather than going for a brown. I feel like with this look, I could easily use a brown. I could use like a brown or even a black, not just an eyeliner, but shadow to deepen the outer corner. But I feel like as soon as I do this, I have done that with this look, and I feel like as soon as I do that, it makes the look more complicated and more structured and more like a smoky eye. And it also looks more labor intensive. It looks like I tried harder because I did. It just looks more complex. And to me, that makes it look a little bit less fresh. And it also makes it harder to pair a strong lip with it. So I find that if I'm using like just color and diffusing color, especially with a wash of sheen over the whole thing, so it sort of just becomes this like washy, sheeny thing, a strong lip with that doesn't look like it's fighting with it too much. But as soon as I put that darkness, that like black or that brown, that like a really deep color, it looks like a smoky eye. And I do feel like a strong lip can kind of look like it's competing with that. So I'm going to try to keep it light. I'm going to try to keep it really red based. And that's why I'm using this red based pencil instead of like a brown pencil, which would provide more sculpting. Like a darker brown pencil would provide more sculpting, or a cool toned brown. All right, I'm going back in with this little pencil brush, the 03, and I'm gonna take the that burgundy shadow again and just pack it into the outer corner. Ugh, I love how Natasha Denona shadows, those mattes, those dark mattes. I love how they stick down. I feel like it would be hard to get, a lot of burgundies would be hard to get them to layer over that bright Juvia's Place red because it's kind of powdery. Not in like a unsustainable way, but just, you know, bright tomato reds like that often are. They do often have this kind of like dry, sandy slip, even like good quality ones. But that burgundy just did not struggle with it at all. It just has so much sort of sticky pigment to it. I really like it. But I am going to go back in with the tomato red and just try to bring it back to the look a little bit more, and then we'll go in with lime chrome for the fun part. Okay, actually, so I said we were going to go in with lime chrome right away, but this eye is starting to water just a tiny bit, and so I'm just going to stop touching my eyes for a little while, and I'm actually going to just do a little bit with my complexion because I'm not worried about lime chrome. It's such a slick, thin shadow. I'm not worried about fallout with it. But because I did get just a little bit of speckles, just a tiny bit of stuff on my cheeks, not like a terrible fallout that I need to clean up with some sort of like micellar water, but I just lost a little bit of primer on my cheeks because I was like trying to tend to them with a little bit of shadow dropping there. So I'm going back in with primer on my cheeks. I I often do this. I often will prime my skin before I start doing my eyes, and then I'll often reprime like the tops of my cheeks. I kind of consider the primer, it's almost like the primer gives me something to wipe away when I get a little bit of fallout, and then I just like to refresh it a little bit. Ugh, my eyes do look kind of fierce though like this. I am tempted to leave them like this, but I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna complete the idea with lime chrome, but first I'm gonna put on my green color corrector, and then I think my eye will have calmed down a little bit by then. There are two people in like a very scrappy sounding yelling fight on the street right outside my building. I hope you guys can't hear that, but if you can, that's what it is. I do have a little bit of dry skin and some redness on my chin. And this is a situation where I feel like I see the weakness of this Algenist color corrector. Usually it melts right into my skin and it is nice and nourishing, but it's got just a tiny bit of, almost feels like it might have a tiny bit of clay content that can sometimes cling, but it might also be that anything would be clinging right there. I'll just go a little bit light with my base today. I'm gonna go back in with lime chrome now and keep talking. I just completely stopped talking while I was doing that, and I'm starting to think that it might just be one person outside having like a scrappy sounding yelling argument with herself. So in short, to continue with the chatty part of this chatty get ready with me, February is going to be madness, but it'll be good. I mean, the festival is a lot of work. Vending at a tango festival is a lot of work, but there are really awesome things about going up there. It's like our original family. Joe and I lived there for ages and ages. Not blood family, but it's like our original tango family. So we'll get to see a lot of people that we've known for a really long time that we really love. And then obviously I'm really excited about my family coming, but I think I'm at the same time kind of steeling myself for a really busy rest of the month, and as you could tell, I'm kind of trying to steal you guys for me not maybe being as productive of a YouTuber in the rest of February as I usually am. I actually want to do this with a brush. I used to always put on shadows like this with my finger, and lately I've just been actually kind of really loving putting shadows like this on with a brush. I feel like these natural bristles pick up so much pigment that it doesn't compromise like the really thick sheen that I want, the way that some of my old brushes used to. In fact, I'm a little worried about putting too much of it down over the red. I'm gonna kind of go easy. I keep forgetting to talk. I keep getting focused on doing what I'm doing and forgetting to talk. But yeah, I wanted to catch you up on the schedule. That was the most important thing. The other most important thing I wanted to say in this video was just thank you so much for the support and all of the kind messages. I know I touched on that already, but that's the next thing that I have in my notes about what I wanted to say. I have gotten some, all of you who have emailed me and DM'd me. I have seen your emails and your DMs, and some of you I have managed to reply to, and some of you I am still hoping to reply to, but I just want you to know that to all of you, the reply is thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you so much. It means so much to me, and when I feel super overwhelmed, it feels hard even to respond to a thing like that, even though I feel like it's the number one thing I should be spending my energy on, if anything, because they're all coming from a place of love and understanding and support. But it's just hard. It's like sometimes I just don't feel like I have the gumption even to be like, thank you so much. It's like I feel it feels too tender, or it feels too real, or like too serious. And I also often feel like when I get a really sweet private message, like I really want to do it justice in replying. I really want to reply fully. And I know that a lot of times it's better to just send a short reply than no reply at all. But because I wish I could send a long reply to everyone, I end up putting it off and sending no reply. And it's something that I'm working on. I actually have been putting a good bit of energy lately into thinking about responses, comments, the way that I want to like conduct my tiny little corner of the internet, and the part of my life that overlaps with the creative project of being on YouTube, the way that I want to conduct the part of it that is interactive. Like it's just something that I've been giving a lot of thought to lately. I've been making a project out of thinking about it instead of just randomly thinking about it. I've been like saying to myself, this is a thing I'm thinking about right now. This is like something I'm considering taking action on and like meditating on. I'll try to explain what I mean to you, and I'll also like tell you kind of what I've been thinking about. But I did want to say that I've been packing lime chrome all over the inner part of my lid, especially on the center of my lid, and also all over my brow bone, like all the way up to my brows. But I have not been putting it right in the outer corner where the shadow is the darkest, the sculpting is the darkest. Because I didn't want to like completely obscure that burgundy shadow. But now I'm going to take this brush which has a little bit of lime chrome still on it, but I haven't dipped it in just now. I've just like wiped it off on my eyelid, and I'm going to brush some of what's on the rest of my eye over the outer corner because I do want this shadow all over the lid. I just want there to be less of it here on the outer corner. And actually, I'm going to take this bigger, fluffier brush, which will hold like less intensity of shadow, and I'm going to sort of buff around the edges. And now going in with lime chrome all over the shadow that's on my lower lash line. Okay, obviously I had to stop talking while I did that, but I did it. So this is the thing I've been doing, and it looks like weird and uneven and interesting all in my outer corner. There's a lot of like blotchiness and smudginess. It's not like a perfect blend. It's kind of uneven. I wouldn't say patchy. It doesn't look patchy in an unintentional way, but it just doesn't look like that clean, seamless, blended sculpt. It looks textural. And I also want to say, in case you didn't watch those videos where I was trying to build a palette that would be conducive to this look, if you're interested in trying something like this, but you don't have the Natasha Denona Gold palette, there's no need to go out and buy that palette just to get lime chrome to do this. ColourPop Glass Bowl is a really good, no, not Glass Bowl, ColourPop Tea Garden is a really good alternative. You can do a look like this by layering Tea Garden over a coral or a red shadow. And there are other shadows like that, iridescent, kind of like yellowy, goldy, greeny, flipping shadows. They're everywhere. So definitely don't feel like this is a lime chrome dependent look. In fact, I usually use Tea Garden, and probably that like weirdness and intensity in the outer corner is due to the fact that I used lime chrome instead of one that was like a little bit more toned down, which is what I usually do. I feel like I look sicky. This is one of those looks where I'm just gonna look sicky until I put on mascara. And I don't want to do that yet because, again, my eye's acting up a little bit. So I'm going to go back to focusing on my complexion, but I'll pop the mascara on in like 3 to 5 minutes when my eyes are feeling a little bit more like themselves. I'm going to go in with just a touch of this. This is like my main concealer that I use. This is what I want to do. I'm feeling so red today. I think I might mix it with this little sample. So I got this little sample of the Charlotte Tilbury Light Wonder Foundation last month, like in the middle of last month. It was when I was in a Nordstrom's. It was actually when I bought that Charlotte Tilbury Spotlight wand. I asked for a sample of this. I've always wanted to try it. And every time, sorry, my nose is itching. Every time I've ever swatched it in store, I have observed that the lightest shade is too dark for me, but I had never actually like tried it. And I know that some foundations can look different when they're like buffed out on your skin, especially when they're quite pigmented. So I decided to get a sample of it, and it's like not light enough to brighten. It's like maybe the tiniest bit. It's either like a perfect match, or it's maybe like the tiniest bit of a shade darker than my skin. It does look beautiful on the skin. I do really like the finish. I would be so much more enthusiastic about it if it was a shade lighter, if they had like one lighter shade, because it doesn't really match my neck, and that's what I'm always looking to do. So that was just the tiniest smidge of that foundation, and now I'm gonna go in with the tiniest smidge of this concealer, which is my favorite, the Makeup Forever Ultra HD. What was I talking about? Oh yeah, I wanted to talk about the idea of sort of actively cultivating kindness in my online space. But actually, I had another note to tell you about this amazing email that I got from one of you, a subscriber named Allison. There was something that she wrote in her email that I want to share with you. So I'm going to talk about that while I put my cheek products on. So I'll tell you what they're going to be so that I won't have to talk about it while I'm doing it. I am going to use this Physicians Formula Dewy Blush Elixir, which I've ended up loving. Even though it's like gel-like and you can't really build it up as much as you can build up any of the other ones that I purchased in my blush haul, the color is so, it's got this richness to it, this lovely richness, and then this dewy gel-like finish. So beautiful. And I'm going to mix it with the Gelamy highlighter, the Holika Gelamy highlighter, just to give myself some variety, because I have been using that Charlotte Tilbury Spotlight wand nonstop since I got it. And this is the one other product that I have in my collection that performs a similar function, but it's much more sparkly. The Charlotte Tilbury wand is like a sheen on the cheek, and this is a really exciting, kind of fresh, sparkly, just more textured and dramatic highlighter. It's less natural. So I'm going to blend these two together. It's a combination that I haven't tried yet. Anyway, Allison sent this email to me in response to my check-in video, and there was a lot in her email. She covered a lot of things. But the thing that stuck out enough that I felt like I wanted to mention in this video, in this Get Ready With Me, is that there was a part of her email where she was addressing what I had said in the check-in about kind of not being interested in one-trick ponies, or not wanting to make my channel just the like champion and no-buy channel. The fact that this channel isn't a self-help channel, but rather like it's just like I'm doing stuff in my own life. And I'm also filming YouTube videos, some of which are like reviewing makeup products, talking about makeup products, talking about putting on makeup, because I love all of that stuff. That's why I'm a YouTube viewer to begin with, because I'm like in this world. I really love it. So I'm doing that, but by virtue of doing these projects in my life where I'm trying to have less stuff, or trying to not buy anything for a year, trying to budget, trying to make my relationship with beautiful things healthier, by virtue of doing that, my channel has also become this long literary essay about evolution and growth. This isn't what Allison said. I'm just summarizing what I said in the check-in, which was the thing that she responded to in this one part of her email. So the thing that really struck me, though, in her email that she said, she was talking about evolution, and evolution like on a platform like this, or just in the world in general. And the sentence from her email that just made me like cry. I was in a Lyft on the way to therapy. I usually drive to therapy, but Joe had the car that morning, and I just happened to read her email. I was in the Lyft. So then I was like crying in the Lyft before I even got to therapy. And then I got there and my therapist was like, what's going on? And I was like, you'll never, I have so much to tell you. So Allison says, evolving at all is so brave, which I strongly agree with, not just based on like the fact that I'm doing it, but just that I'm inspired to evolve by the people that I see doing it in public and in my own life. It's something I respect so much, to be able to shed the way you were and move forward. It can be scary for so many reasons, not the least of which is that it is often something that you'll get resistance about from the people that know you and love you. Like, I think one of the things I really love about Joe is that he allows me to evolve. He doesn't get disturbed when I start behaving differently than I used to behave. He's never like, you're not the woman I married, right? I mean, you know, we've never actually gotten married, but you know what I'm saying? We've been together for so long. He doesn't have a problem with me having evolved so much that I'm pretty much a different person from the person that he met, the 22-year-old girl that he met all those years ago. And same for him, for me. Like, I love to see him evolve. One of my favorite things about him is that he's always changing. He's always moving forward. He's always trying to do better and be better. But I know that we're really lucky, and I know that that's not the case for everyone. I think that for many people I know, I've seen them struggle. They're trying to evolve. They're trying to make changes, and then people around them will reject that because they don't see the whole picture, and they feel threatened or unstable because something that they took for granted as being a certain way is starting to change. That thing being like their friend or their lover or their family member. They thought that the nature of that person was something that they could always count on. And I think it's one of the greatest gifts that you can give to your loved ones, to let them evolve, support them in evolving. This is all just me going off of Allison having said evolution at all is so brave. And I love that for myself. I love that for you guys. I love that for all of our friends and family members. And I'm saying, like, let's let it be okay to see each other do that. Like, let's let it be okay to see each other grow and change, even though that growth and change often subtly or sometimes dramatically changes the exact nature of the relationship. That's what I'm trying to get at. We have to celebrate that. Otherwise, none of us will ever get anywhere. So Allison's follow-up sentence, which I think was the one that really struck me the most, she says, evolving at all is so brave. To do it in public is heroic in the age of branding. And that was what struck me so much. Her talking about, when she talked about brand, like brought up the word branding, that really encapsulates everything I was trying to say when I talked about like what it would be like if I had like a no-buy channel, and if I had just like gone and like made myself into a one-trick pony. It would have been branding myself really successfully, because we love branding It's the age of branding and we love it. All right, I want one more layer of cream cheek. So I'm gonna do it while I say this last little bit that I had put in my note about that. Actually, no, I'm gonna say it first and then I'm gonna do it because I feel like I need to keep an eye on my note while I'm saying this. The idea of resisting branding, that was the thing that I wanted to touch base on thanks to Allison. I feel like, so I think a lot about branding when I said I was gonna read my notes, but I'm not. I'm going off on a tangent again. I think a lot about branding. I think a lot about drag queens when I think about branding because I watch a lot of drag content, like all the drag races, all the World of Wonder series, everything that I can watch on VH1's YouTube channel that's related to Drag Race. Like, I'm a Drag Race super fan. Many of the most successful queens are successful because of branding. They're like branding artists. And so I'm not against it. It's kind of beautiful to watch when it's done well. But what it consists of is repetition, sameness, kind of making yourself more consumable by making yourself a little bit less dimensional. So it's not entirely like a one-trick pony, but maybe like a three-trick pony, constantly reminding people of your one main trick and then introducing maybe a couple of other tricks to add to your notoriety, to add to your brand, and then making sure you always stay on brand. You never stray from your brand. You never grow. You never evolve outside your brand. And you certainly never completely evolve and shed your brand and evolve into a new brand. That's very dangerous if you're trying to make it based on branding in the age of branding. So when Allison wrote to me in her email that evolving is brave in the age of branding, the way I kind of take it is like, it's brave for two reasons. One, because you jeopardize your you jeopardize your potential for success. You curtail your potential for growth, which is fine with me. I mean, that like this isn't my main gig. Like I want to be a writer, and I make my money selling tango clothes. So I'm fine with like not optimizing my YouTube project in that way, just in terms of like clicks and likes and subscribers and stuff like that. But the other way, and the other thing that you incur is criticism, like criticism from people who are so used to branding that texture and growth and ups and downs and just like reality, realness, not performed realness, but realness, behavioral realness makes them uncomfortable and makes them feel like you're doing something wrong. So it's a little bit of a tough sell. Evolution is kind of a tough sell because I'm struggling with my cheeks because I waited so long because I was talking, this gel-y stuff started to set, and now it's like patching up a little bit as I go in with another layer. And I think it's probably not helping that this gel cheek product it only builds to a certain point. So it's kind of a delicate situation over here. Yeah, it's a total mess. You can't see it, but it's like sticking and patching and starting to like, I put too thick of a layer on and I let it dry and then I went back in. I'm actually gonna have to like take it off. This is what we call learning one's lesson. I don't feel like I need to go back in with base product because I would just be putting on base product and then putting these cheek products on top of it. I'm just gonna go back in with these cheek products and I'm going to really quickly apply them and then I'm just gonna leave them be. I'm gonna have that be it. Okay, there we go. That was the application of those products that I was looking for. But I do think I need to go with a little bit of concealer underneath my eyes because I brought it in like kind of close to my nose. And I often do this too. I'll often put a little bit of concealer, then I'll go in with the cheek and I'll kind of drape it all across and it'll get out of control and I'll have to go in with concealer under my eyes. It happens like every other time I do my makeup. But I like it because then you get like a really nice blend with the concealer into the blush and down here too. You can kind of bring it down here and get the blush back under control if it's gotten all over the place. There we go. All right, I'm going to apply my mascara off camera, rally my thoughts. I feel like, did I say everything I wanted to say? I mean, thank you, Allison, obviously, for sending me this gorgeous email and for giving me like yet another way to think about my goal in resisting branding, I guess, and trying to make peace with being fallible and doing that on camera. That's what I'm doing, but sometimes it feels futile. Sometimes I'm like, why am I doing this? Like, why? Especially if I'm going to get so much shit for it. Like, why am I not just avoiding like this? But the way that Allison phrased it made me feel like there's like a mission behind it, or that there's something to be gained from it. And so many of your comments as well last week, so much of that support was phrased in a way that made me understand that there is value to continue on this path, and there is value to continuing to just like be fallible and just like be honest and be transparent. So thank you, all of you, Allison and everyone, thank you so much. Now I'm going to move on to talking about the idea of cultivating kindness, but I'm going to do it after I have my mascara on. I'll be right back. So while I was putting my mascara on, I was thinking about something else that I had wanted to communicate to you about all your sweet supportive comments, which is that the other thing that they helped a lot with, I kind of indicated this at the beginning of the video, but it just made me feel like there are people, there are at least some people who are on the same page as me. And that made it so much easier for me to get myself out of that hole of feeling like I didn't want to film. So it made a huge difference. You have no idea, it made a huge difference. It's even on videos where there's like 5 or 10 like super spiteful and aggressive character assassinating comments, and then like 150 really nice ones. It's just hard not to let those awful ones completely take over your perception of how your work is being received. And I've seen so many other YouTubers talk about that, and I've talked to YouTubers in person who talk about that, and it might be like hard to understand if you're not going through it, because I do see comments that are like, just ignore them, most of us don't feel that way. And I so appreciate those comments, because all of it helps, like every little bit of support helps to get me closer to feeling like okay. But it's just human nature. It's just really, it's the biggest challenge of this part of my life right now, is not letting those few super harsh comments become like all I see or all I think about when I think about my audience, because I don't want to think of you guys that way. Like I don't want to be like mad at you when like the vast majority of you aren't even commenting at all. I mean, I don't know what you're thinking, but you're just like, lovely, mild, silent viewers. Love you all. Love you so much. And then the vast majority of you who are commenting kind things. So I don't want to just take this like tiny sample of people who in many cases are like willfully misunderstanding me, like choosing to interpret what I'm saying through a very warped lens, and then to throw it back out on the screen as something that it actually isn't. I don't want to like look at just this very tiny group of people who are doing that and have it make me think that all of you are like that, because that would be doing a disservice to you. That would be unfair to you. I don't want to be like that. I don't want to be that kind of friend. So it's something that I'm working on. I'm working on not letting that happen, but it is so hard. And the thing that makes it easier is the comments, the positive comments that help to drown out those few really like willfully ignorant voices. So thank you once again from the bottom of my heart so much for that. And something else happened when I was putting on my mascara, which is that I noticed that the edge of the eyeshadow is looking a little harsh to me, just like like I'd like it to be buffed out a little more. But rather than going back in with lime chrome, I think I'm going to use a powder blush to do that, and then maybe bring it down onto the tips of my cheekbones just a tiny bit. It's hard to use cream blush to blend out the edges of a powder shadow on the eyes, but it's great. Powder blush is great for that. So I'm going to grab, actually this is fun. This is an occasion for me to show you my entire powder blush collection, which is down to 4. So I have these 2 Lancome blushes that came in PR last year. The blush Subtil in Shimmer Mocha Havana, which would be too dark for the purpose for today. The blush Subtil in Miel Glacé, which is my #1 blush, and that might be the candidate for today. It's got a lot of shimmer in it. I consider this a blush, but it's technically a bronzer. It's the Neo Bronzer in Sunrise Light from Kevyn Aucoin. Probably too brown for what I want right now, but this is a really great product. And this also came in PR. And then this was a gift from my friend Julia. It's Clinique Nude Pop. And I think I want more sheen than Nude Pop would give me on my cheekbones right now. So I'm going to go with Miel Glacé. So I'm bringing it a little bit onto my brow bone, but then concentrating it like where the cheek meets the eyeshadow, like right here. And then down onto just the tip of my cheek right there. Like in a C shape that goes from the middle of the brow bone to the tip of the cheek. I love how this blush is layering over lime chrome on my eyes. It's so pretty. Okay, I'm gonna put some soap in my brows. Lately, I've actually been spraying from this spray directly onto the soap. I just switched to trying it that way, and it's actually working really well. And I feel like I can use less spray to get more soapiness, more goop, more soap goop, which is really what this is, soap goop brows. So I basically, over the last couple of weeks, I was having a hard January to begin with, and then a spate of really vicious comments had a very strong negative impact on my life, like really upset me. And working on being less upset by upsetting comments, that's one of my projects right now. Like I'm working on it. It's one of my jobs right now. It's part of this job right now, working on being less upset by negative comments and having them like impact the flow of my life less. But it's a journey. I'm not going to change overnight into someone who has like a super thick skin. And so I've been sort of like meditating on and actively considering, actively kind of workshopping in my own mind the idea of not moderating comments in a traditional way, but making it part of my channel, making it part of like the ethos or the rules of my channel, that kindness is expected in the comments or that kindness is preferred. So one thing I considered was just like politely asking just to not leave unkind comments, just saying like, look, like there's a culture on the internet of just like commenting whatever you want in comments and sort of like treating the people who are making content as just like straw people who are there for you to like throw whatever you want at them. Like that, there is a culture of that. And so I considered sort of politely being like, could we just not do that over here? Like, could you just not just keep it on Reddit? If for some reason you have a personality or your life circumstance has caused you to be someone where you love to hate me specifically so much that it's going to make a huge difference in your life to be able to like write that on the internet and publish it. If that's true about you, there's nothing I can do about that. But like, just please, politely asking, like, please just do it like on Reddit and not on my actual channel. Like I considered that for a little while, just making it known that like it's my preference. Then I just sort of considered maybe backing up from that and making it even larger and not even really about me, but just about having like a set of, not exactly rules, but just having like a code, sort of like a general code for commenting on the internet, which I kind of do. For myself, I kind of have a code for myself. I try not to be, I don't know, I try not to be rude. Like I try, and once in a while something will get me and I'll crack and I'll be like a little bit sassy or a little bit snarky. The internet, comments on the internet really like brings that out of anyone, I think. Like you see things, especially if you're personally being attacked or you're being judged, you see something and you just, like 1,000 snarky comments will fly to the tip of my fingers sometimes when I'm going through the comments. There's so much that's like clever and silly and witty and cutting that I would love to say in response, even to like mildly aggressive or like stupid trolling comments, like your hair looks like a bad wig, like stuff like that. I often cycle through like 5 really like put downy comments before I settle on a kind one or one that's more neutral, if I'm even responding to the comment at all. It makes you want to be mean. Meanness makes me want to be mean. And I am a pacifist. I don't know how like clear I've ever been about this, but I'm Quaker. Like I was raised by Quakers. I haven't been to meeting very often in the past several years. Like as an adult, I haven't been a regular attendee at a Quaker meeting. But I am Quaker, and Quakers are pacifists. Nonviolent resistance is like the foundation of the moral code with which I was raised and that I still subscribe to. It only recently clicked that like that might be a guiding principle for me when it comes to this question of how to handle online hate. Because sometimes I feel like I should be pushing back. I should be snarky and sassy and I should be like, yeah. Like sometimes I feel I have that in me. I could do that. Sometimes I feel like I'm being weak by not doing that. But recently, as I meditate on all of these things, it sort of like rose up this like light, this sun, which is like my knowledge of my own pacifism. Peace peacefulness, love, like not fighting meanness with meanness, but fighting meanness with peace. And I have tried to do that in the comments. I think it's just in my nature, like it's embedded in my nature, because literally it was like my childhood home. Like it's been with me since I was a kid, this way of thinking about the world. Nonviolence and passive resistance. It's helped me a lot to bring it to actually the forefront of my mind and to use it as a tool to be like, what's the pacifist response to this, or what would be like the most holistic way of going about handling this situation. Basically, I'm a lover, not a fighter. I need to like stop brushing up my brows. What happens is I start talking and I'm doing one task and I just keep doing it and keep doing it even after it's done on my face. That's what Get Ready With Me, that's what Chit Chat Get Ready With Me has turned out to mean for me. I'm gonna put my mole back on. So the other thing that was going on recently is that I've been reading the most recent book in the Chief Inspector Gamache series by Louise Penny, an amazing mystery series. I've talked about it on my channel before. The first book is called Still Life, and it's the Three Pines Mysteries, or the Chief Inspector Gamache series. I'll link it down below. I'll like leave the Amazon link or something. Love those books so much. Really love them as audiobooks too. The original reader, and then the new reader who replaced him when the first reader passed away, both of them are fantastic. So recommend listening to those if you have an Audible account. Inspector Gamache, who's like the main character, a new little thing came out about his own moral code, which is one of the kind of consistent threads in the books, is like the moral code of this man who is a member of the police force and is often dealing with immoral systems. It comes out that he has these 3 questions to ask before speaking, and he just recommends them, especially if you're in a difficult situation. 3 questions to ask before speaking. Is it kind? Is it true? Does it need to be said? In the throes of thinking so much about comment culture and like hate culture and trolling and stuff, that struck me as like a really beautiful 3 questions to ask before commenting. Is it kind? Is it true? Does it need to be said? Does it need to be said? That 3rd question, does it need to be said, is like it will have to be interpreted loosely in the comment section of YouTube videos, because obviously our goal in commenting, like in having exchanges in the comments, a lot of times it's not necessarily based on necessity, like based on need. It's based on fun and connection and relaxation and sometimes silliness and just general camaraderie, right? So there are a lot of times there are fun, silly things that don't necessarily need to be said. So I don't mean to like cancel all comments that don't necessarily like need to be said, but is it kind? And is it true? Those are pretty straightforward, and those are really like, they seem like obvious questions that you would want to ask before commenting, but that's not the way the cookie crumbles these days. And the thing that I've been thinking about doing is putting it in my description box. I politely request that before you comment, you ask yourself, is it kind? Is it true? Does it need to be said? Or something like that, something along those lines. Just a little blurb in the down bar that's like, over here, this is how we roll. For not just for my sake to like hopefully stave off jerk comments or sort of unkind comments or commenters who are off the rails. I mean, probably they'll keep commenting no matter what I put in the description box. But just to like ground, so for everyone's sakes, like just to like ground the channel and this place of like a kind of pacifism in the comment section, to give a reference point for why certain things are unacceptable, because there just isn't one in the internet, like in the culture of commenting on the internet. There really is no like code of like what's polite or what's okay. I think some people understand that you shouldn't comment something if you wouldn't say it to that person's face, but a lot of people don't understand that. And so the question of whether it's kind or whether it's even acceptable to say, I feel like the moral code by which many people naturally live, because when you're with a person in person, sometimes you can just so easily feel that a thing would be unkind. And so a lot of us will instinctively not say unkind things in person, because when you're there with that person, just our humanity kicks in and you can just feel that you wouldn't want to say it. But online, there's like this neutrality, and people, a lot of times they think that even people whose humanity would kick in if they were like sitting across from me at a coffee shop, it doesn't kick in online. Even like just like the general code of living as a person is like not in place, I think, for a lot of people. So I've just been thinking about the idea of making like a a little weak attempt to put that in place and to just make a statement and say, look, this is what I'm trying to do in my commenting. It will also give me guidance for responding to people who are negative. It will give me like a way to talk about why what they've said isn't okay with me. And I also like the idea of giving some of you guys guidance when responding to unkind people, because sometimes I see unkindness breeding unkindness in the comments, and I see some of you who I know are really kind people and who mostly leave really kind comments being really unkind in response to people who have been unkind to me. So like, you wouldn't be unkind to me, but you're being unkind to people who've been unkind to me. I totally appreciate like where that's coming from, because again, I have that same impulse to defend myself, and that impulse is magnified like 1,000-fold when I'm defending someone else. So I'm a lot more likely to be unkind to like a commenter who's being unkind to Lauren on her channel or to Angelica on her channel than I am to do that in my own comments. So I'm not blaming you, but it might give you, if I have this thing in the down box, it might give you a way to just take a breath and reorient and just maybe say something kind instead of unkind as a response. It will give us all like an encouragement to do that. And I would love that for us. I would love that journey for all of us, because being mean also makes you feel bad. Even if you feel like, yeah, I've like righteously defended like my friend or myself, or like justice or fairness or something. Even when I feel that way, I always feel bad. At the end of the day, if I've been in any way like giving a dig at someone, it always makes me feel bad. I don't want to be a fighter, but unkind comments, especially, not just unkind comments, I'm actually fine with. When someone's like, your brows look disgusting, that my skin is now thick enough. I'm just like, LOL, have a good day. Like, that's how I feel about that. But unfair comments, when people are like saying in the comments that I've said something that I've never said, or indicating that I've said something that I've never said, and then like picking me apart based on that false information, the injustice of that, it rankles so hard. It makes me want to fight. Meanness predicated on unfair assessments makes me want to be mean, and I don't want to feel like fighting, and I don't want to feel like being mean. I would love to put an ethos in place in myself and then also on my channel that resists that. So let me know what you guys think about that. Is that like, is it done? Do people do that? Is it weird? Do you think it would have any effect at all? My description box is often really full, and I often like run out of characters. So it, in a way, it's like a big decision to put another permanent thing down there. It would leave me less room to like link the products I'm using on my face and the products that I talk about and stuff like that. But I'm thinking about doing it. So let me know what you think. I think I need to put a lip product on and finish with this Get Ready With Me, because I only have an hour left before Joe comes home for lunch, and I have another video to film after this. So Alter Ego sent me all of these liquid lipsticks. They just came out with liquid lipsticks, and I only opened one of them because I don't really, two things. One, I don't really wear liquid lipsticks. I've decluttered all of the true liquid lipsticks from my collection, and so even though the colors are so pretty, actually, let me give you a close-up. Hopefully you can see those color names and the little paint chips on the end of the packaging, but as you can see, this is totally my palette. Like, in theory, all of these colors would suit me. They're really, really, really beautiful. But I'm only going to open one of them so I can test the formula, because this is a kind of product, I already opened it actually, and I did try it on once or twice, and it is beautiful. So, but I'm gonna try it on. I'm gonna keep trying it, and I'm going to demonstrate it in this video, and then I'll be able to give the other ones away. I'll be able to donate them because they'll be untouched. Because something with a doe foot like this, if you try it, even if you just swatch it, you can't then donate it because it's technically contaminated. It's not something that they can sanitize after that. So these ones are all going to go in the giveaway box, but I'm going to try on this one, Intrigue. It's like the lightest nude one. It's sort of like a light rusty orange. Reminds me a lot of like my nail color right now, kind of like Maybelline Raw Chocolate. The component is also really pretty. It's just like, it feels high-end. The outer packaging has that like that soft touch feel that Joe and I call the shark skin penis feeling. Oh, I said two things and then I just told you one thing. The one thing being that I don't usually wear liquid lipsticks. The other thing is that I'm trying not to take on any new lip products these days because I'm really happy with my lip product collection as it is. That's the kind of product that takes a really long time to use up. I'm just starting to feel like it's small enough that I like know everything that's in there. It's like so plugged into my Makeup Mind palettes, and I'm really enjoying just using what I have in lips. So I'm not even totally sure I will keep this in the Reckoning. The formula is so nice. It's really thin. It goes on almost as thin as like an oil or like a watercolor or something. Like, it's just incredibly thin. It's one of those really, really, really fine formulas. Not like a thick paint, but like just a fine layer of pigment almost. And then it doesn't like stick and turn into a layer in the way that a lot of liquid lipsticks do. I find that liquid lipsticks like that, they don't allow me to like buff out the edges for that soft edge that I prefer with any lip application. I am able to do that with this, and I do really like the color. It's almost like a rosy orange. It's not as orange as I expected it to be based on the little swatch on the container. Less orange than Faded Clementine from M Cosmetics, and less brown than Maybelline Raw Chocolate. So it's got that bit of rose in it, which I really like. It's a beautifully balanced color. I'll have to swatch it against everything else I have. If I decide not to keep it, I can probably give it away to like a friend or a family member, so it's not like it'll go into the trash or something. But yeah, looking at the thing on the edge, this really does look like a rich sort of chocolatey orange, and the color looks on me a little bit more like a rose. So I will say that about this color, Intrigue, but it is very beautiful. And actually, given that it looks more like a rose on my lips, it's probably less likely to have an actual dupe in my collection because I don't have that many lip colors like this. Already in that short time, I'm getting pretty much no transfer, so it's definitely long wearing. And the time when I first got it in the mail, I opened this one, I put it on, and it did wear really well all day. It's not super drying like old-fashioned liquid lipsticks, but it's more drying than like an actual nourishing lip color. So probably the way my lips feel over time is what will dictate whether or not I end up keeping this. But these ones, I'm probably just, I'll put them in the purgatory box, but I'll just not talk about them at length in that video, but I'll reckon with them on camera. Speaking of the purgatory box, I have some things in purgatory that are actually on my ears. I got connected with this brand Aurelia London because they had put party favors in Simbri's party bags, and I was so impressed by the quality of the earrings because I have really sensitive ears, and they ended up sending me a couple more styles to try, and I love them so much, especially the little one with a green stone that I put in my uppermost piercing right here. I'll zoom in so you can see it. This one right here is just the ring that my ear was pierced with. But all of these other ones are from Aurelia London. So those earrings are some PR that I have to decide about in February. And if I decide to keep them, which of course I'm going to keep at least the like opal ones that are in the front and the little one with the green gem, I'm definitely going to keep them. And so they'll be added to my stuff number in February when I go through my reckoning. Until I started putting rings in all of the holes, a lot of you didn't know that I had so many piercings in my ears. And did you know that I used to have my lip pierced? I had a ring in my lip like that. Okay, kind of fierce. I ended up with a more dramatic and editorial version of this look than I usually end up with for two reasons. One, that I used lime chrome instead of tea garden, and it's just more intense. More yellow and more green, more fiery. And then also this lip color. I don't usually pair this look with such a rich, full coverage lip. I usually do a gloss or sort of like something nourishing and just a little bit sheeny and more skin-like, rather than like a matte, rather deep color. But I like it, I'm here for it, and it will definitely be sufficient for filming my next video, the video about all the things that I bought, which will probably have already gone up when you're watching this one. Oh, I'm going to spray my face. I've been using this In Beauty Project Power Up Dual Face Setting Mist, and I like the spray, but the sprayer is a little bit effed up. I feel like I have to spray from really high up and just let it fall into my face. That is it. Thank you so much for watching this Get Ready With Me. If I have omitted to say anything about the products I was putting on my face or the techniques that I was using because I was so distracted talking about my feelings, then just let me know in the comments. But before you comment, ask yourself, is it kind? Is it true? Does it need to be said? maybe those of us who actually saw this video can proceed with that going forward. And we'll see if I end up getting it together to like put it in the down bar and make it a policy or like an official request. As always, I appreciate you so much for being here. And as always, I hope you are remembering to take especially extra good care of yourself right now so that you can be the most effective version of yourself as you do your work in the world.